So, another vlog, another trip. This time it's time lapse. So tonight it's 6 o'clock. Sunset's maybe in, don't actually know, I didn't check. This is slapdash as always. So what I'm doing is I'm time lapsing the sunset over the city, and then hopefully as that time goes on the lights will come on and it will look nice. So we're going for Holy Grail. So that's time lapse from day to night. So we're going to use a couple of techniques. We're going to use first of all the camera in interval mode, 5-second gaps. I'm shooting at 135mm. I think I've started at 1/60th of a second to begin with, and then as the light goes, we'll ramp the settings to try and get the best fit. And hopefully I can do all that within about 4 seconds is kind of my max. I want to leave at least a second between each. So that's the plan. I think I'm like F11 or something, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Once we've taken all the shots, I'm going to use LR Timelapse to go through the process of batch editing the photographs, along with the use of Lightroom to do that. So LR Timelapse is a free software. There is a paid version that lets you do a little bit more, but I'm going to use the free version, which limits you to 400 frames. I'm going to take probably about 500 odd frames anyway tonight, maybe more. Anyway, so we'll see. We might be able to stitch them together. But LR Timelapse allows us to produce the Holy Grail method, which allows us to blend the smooth transition between day to night. And it looks quite nice. There's a bit of cloud, there's a bit of colour. Got newly installed Ferris wheel at the moment, big wheel, Dundee Eh, which is hopefully going to light up nicely once the light starts to fade. Anyway, so the scene's quite nice. I've been here before, I know what it's all about. I've set my focus and it's shooting away at the moment. I'll show you the view that you'll get from the camera in a moment. In terms of the post-processing, once I've exported all the JPEGs, I'll then put it into Photoshop to then render the footage. And I don't know, I think it'll be maybe 20 seconds worth or something of footage, and then obviously I can use chunks of that in other projects. It's quite nice down here. I've sheltered from using a wall to kind of shelter the lens. There's a wee bit of a breeze, but nothing wild. But it's quite nice down here. You get a nice view of the city. You've got the Tay Bridge zooming across, looking towards, and it just goes to a vanishing point almost. So if your camera doesn't have a built-in intervalometer, you might want to invest in something like this. Cheap, really cheap. Don't bother with the proper Nikon or Canon ones because they all do exactly the same thing. So this was about 12 quid or something on Amazon. That allows you to program time lapses. I actually forgot I was doing a time lapse there and forgot to check the settings, but all is well. It's just a third of a stop underexposed at the moment, which is absolutely fine. I'm shooting with 80 to 200, I meant to say that, 80 to 200 on D750, Nikon D750. I don't really like this lens past kind of 180mm, it gets a bit soft. So 135 is nice. Anyway, so cheap intervalometer, which allow you to program your camera to take photographs every X number of seconds and for a duration of seconds for each interval, and you can obviously change that as you go. This is a wireless one, but it does have a wire that you can plug in anyway. find they're pretty ropey. So yeah, that's really all you need. Patience, you need patience, because I'm going to be standing here for an hour and a bit, which is quite dull. But I do have a can of Iron Brew. That is my treat for my time lapsing. So yeah, it's a bit of a waiting game because the light's not changed an awful lot in the last little bit, but I can just see the fairground, the big sort of Ferris wheel starting to light up now. So that'll be nice to the shot, especially as it gets the blue hour, and then I mean, I'm not going to wait here until it's full dark, but just enough to get a bit of kind of darkness and the light showing up. So yeah, it's a bit of a waiting game now, and all I'm going to do is just change the settings as and when I need to. Just keep an eye on that, which I've not been doing terribly well so far. But yeah, it's really nice down here. Pleasant. It's a nice part of the world, Dundee. It's in fact the sunniest city in Scotland, along with a few other records that it probably doesn't want to have anyway. But so it's just in my shot, I've got the V&A, the law, the Dundee law, and then the bridge kind of vanishing towards the city centre. The Discovery obviously there as well next to the V&A, but I actually think I've chopped that off. Damn. And it's nice, it's not actually that cold. It says 8 degrees, but it doesn't feel as cold as that. It's not as windy because I'm out sheltered by this wall. You can just see a bit of sun here, kissing the trees. A lot of people plan shots quite rigorously, like where's the sun going to be and all this sort of stuff, but I am slapdash. I'm always last minute. I only realised that I had free time this afternoon after work, because the wife's getting her hair done and the kids are at granny's, so we've got a freebie moment to do a bit of time lapse. And also the good thing about doing time lapse is you end up with hundreds of images, some of which you can actually just use as a single image, so that's nice, along with the time lapse itself. Okay, so now sun's gone pretty much. It's kind of blue hour now. I've changed it actually a little bit. I've tried to get the shutter speed a little bit slower, so I'm a 1/6 of a second now, so I've bumped it up to something like F16 or something. I just find that the slower the shutter speed over the whole course. I try and aim to get a second exposure, so in theory I should really have a variable ND filter would be a perfect for this job, but I don't. I've only got a 10 stop, and that would be too harsh to go from like 10 stop, boom, 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 and then I'd have to take it off, and then I don't even know how that would work properly. So I'm working on a project with Tayside and Pictures, Ben Hurst, been collecting time lapses throughout sort of lockdown and the summer, but now we're getting into autumn and then winter. It kind of helps with rush hour traffic at a time where it's, well, the sun going down at the time of rush hour makes time lapses more interesting rather than just sort of sporadic cars, because sunset, you know, varied from like 10 o'clock at night to, well, that's us now, 7 o'clock, so you'd obviously want it to be a little bit longer exposure for when the cars are trailing past, and if it's nice and busy, it just gives a bit more of a, it gives a nicer effect. I said it wasn't cold, but I think it's time for that. It's cold standing around. So it's getting dark, quite dark now. Still a bit of orange on the in the sky. I'm now at F14 still, but I've got it to 2 seconds, kind of where I want it to be, to give me a bit of sort of motion blur on the big wheel. So it's I'm not going to stay too much longer because I've just had the phone call. So I'm going to give it until sort of 7:10, because I need to be home for 7:30. So now I've got it to 2 seconds. I'm going to start to reduce my f-stop, so 14 down, and we'll just do that as we get towards the end. So the lights are all just starting to come on now. The wheel's really nice and bright. So I'm hoping that the next sort of 10 minutes or so that's. So this is the last. I'll just end the video here, and I'll show the final result. So I'll just end the video out in the field here.